right, in this video, we're going to take a look at the shell and these last three options here, and that will complete profiles. We've already done this one, run command, and if you want to take a look at the previous video that we did, you will see that we were able to run a command, and then we had an alternate way to kind of help not run that command every single time your terminal instance starts up. All right, down here it says when the shell exits, don't close the window. So that's interesting. So if you were to type a command called exit, the window is still open. So I cannot type anything else inside of this process, inside of this terminal, and the window stays open. So the only way around this is to quit. So command Q, and then I will reopen up a terminal again, and I will open up the preferences, and I'll have to jump back into the shell. If you were to choose this option, I like this one where it says close if shell exits cleanly, and then there's just close the window. So if I hit exit, it will close the window completely. This one is great because if there's a process running and there's an error or something happened, it won't close the window. So in this case, there's no processes. It looks great. It's nice and clean. If I type exit, the window closes, and I'm still in the application because it's still running. So I'd have to command Q to quit that. Open up terminal one more time and open up my preferences and back to shell. Okay. I'm going to leave that like this. And then you can ask before closing. So these are just prompts, whether or not, when you want to close terminal, you'd always ask you, it'll say never. You can choose these here. And this last one here is only if there's processes other than the login shell running, you can, adjust that or add new ones here. I would just leave this alone for now. It's pretty good. There's rarely a time that you'll be running a non-login process, but this is good here. And we'll leave that there. And we'll jump into keyboards. So these are all your keyboard shortcuts that are available. I will provide a link to additional keyboard shortcuts that are available as well that you can check out. It's very useful. If you wanted to, change this key list, and this will modify any keys here, you can select the key that you want to modify, and then you want to hit edit, and then it'll bring up this modal box, and here's where you can change your options. You can change this to be anything else other than the F1 key. And then you can apply what's called an option modifier. So it could be Control, Shift, any of these modifiers here. And then you can now pick a specific set of text to associate with that action depending on what you want. So this is very good. It gives you a lot of fine-grained control if you need it. I'll just cancel this. And the other thing that you could do is you could add a new button by hitting the plus. And then you can now add your own specific one. So you can say, I don't know, F4 does something, and you pick your modifier, whatever you like. And then your text action, which is whatever you want to put in here. And then that will save inside of the key list. So we're just going to cancel that. And if you wanted to remove any of these or any ones that you created that were new, the counterpart to that is to use the minus button. And this would minus or remove any any key lists in this window. All right, so you have your actions, you have your key lists and your keys. You can add or remove them. You could edit them. The next option is use options as meta key. If you were to check this, this is good for some editors. And basically what it does is it gives you the option the key to act as a meta key. So use this option if you, are running something other than an editor, or Apple used to have a software called X11. Now I believe it's turned to Xquartz or something like that. So, this option is good for open source programs that you want to run using that type of app, or anything that you're running that has any kind of scientific purpose or academia. The option is there, and it's a good one if you're running something unique that you want to try out. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I'll give you guys, you can just give this a quick read, and you can see what that is. So we're going to leave that for now as well. All right, on to Advanced Settings tab. We're going to pretty much leave everything here as is. So we're not going to really change any of these settings or adjust any of this stuff here. One thing to note though, that this advanced setting tab is applicable to the profile. So I think overall, if you were to change any of these things here, it's not going to affect terminal, the application as a whole, but just the profile that you happen to be modifying. These are the settings for these things. Maybe you have a note down here, you have an audible bell, so it makes a sound that you can hear depending if something goes wrong or there's an issue or a prompt. And then you have a visual bell, which is like a flash, depending on what it is that needs your attention. Everything else is pretty much self-explanatory, just, by following these like tick or check boxes. And down here is the international or text encoding. So there's actually a tab over here for text encoding as well. But I'm not going to cover encoding in this series. Just note that you can set the locale environment variables on startup to whatever you need. So if you read, maybe right to left or left to right, or, most people just, depending on your region, will leave it here to UTF-8. And that's what we're going to leave this at as well. So that's it for profiles. That covers everything that we need to know as far as settings and all the things. So text, window, tab, shell, keyboard, and advanced. I'm going to jump into window groups in our next video. This one will be a short one. So I'm just going to show you what the purpose of having a window group is and how you can get around to making it convenient for you to have multiple windows open. So check that out in the next video, and take care, and we'll see you in the next one.